Hey, warrior friends, happy Tuesday. I'm so excited for today's warrior conversation with my warrior friend Kristin Fry. As Kristin joins, we will get this conversation started. But I just want to welcome you. I'm so excited that you're joining us for today's conversation. It's going to be incredible. Hey, everybody joining. While Kristin is joining the warrior conversation, I would love to hear where you are joining us from. So say hello. Let us know where you're joining us from today. And I am so glad that you're here. Hey, Kristin, how's it going?
Hi, it's good. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for joining me for this warrior conversation today. I literally cannot wait to dive into this topic with you. It's going to be so much fun.
Good, I'm excited.
Well, hey, to kick everything off, there may be some people who are new to who you are, new to who I am. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself first, then I'll give a little intro of who I am, and we'll dive straight into Beyond the Swipe.
Okay, so the short version is that I live in Atlanta, but I am from California. And sometimes when I tell people that, they go, "Oh, yeah, I can tell." So that usually gets mixed reactions. However, I always say one of the things I love living about the South is that people are genuinely friendly, and that is not the case where I'm from. And they taught me about sweet tea and macaroni and cheese. So neither of those things I did not know about. But besides all of that, I work in church consulting, but I've worked at, I've had careers in churches and all of that for most of my adult life. But I am also an author and a speaker, and my passion is to provide tools to help people just navigate life in a really healthy and effective way. So that's just a snapshot.
I love it, especially the note on the macaroni and cheese and the sweet tea, because you are so right.
I was like, what in the world are you guys doing? And why is macaroni and cheese a side item at your holidays?
Really, seriously, I lived in Vegas after I'm from, Florida and South, and so I moved to Vegas after college for a couple of years. And I remember the first time ordering sweet tea at a restaurant, and they were like, "We don't have that. Like, use some like sugar. Like, what do you?" So, anyways, it is a thing. But anyways, I'm glad you're here. And if you are new to me, my name is Emily. I am the host of BecomingMeTV. I am a new author as well. So I'm excited to join that club with Kristin. And I'm just passionate about helping people become who God made us to be. So that's me in a nutshell. But I want to dive in because you have a powerful book called Beyond the Swipe. And I want you to take
That's sweet.
just let me know, like, what is Beyond the Swipe? What does that mean? Tell me about this book.
Okay, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
So people often ask about the title. So of course we know that the phrase swiping was made popular by digital dating apps. Swipe right is positive, swipe left is negative. But the reason why it's called Be on the Swipe, because if you think about it in terms of, let's say we meet in real, like face to face, and you meet someone for the first time, you're either going to introduce yourself by putting out your hand and shaking their hand, or some people introduce themselves by giving a hug. So that's basically your entry point into a relationship, whether it's a friendship, romantic relationship, coworker, whatever. That's the entry point into the relationship. So you put that in this digital space, and the swipe right is your entry point into the relationship, in which we know, oh my goodness, that's not a relationship. Like, everything beyond that and what happens beyond that, that's where real relationships start. That's where real relationships can get weird. That's everything in between. They can be good, they can be bad, they can be odd, but there's so much more that happens beyond just a swipe or beyond a handshake.
Yeah.
So that's honestly where that came from.
I really love the title because it is important. And I want you to unpack for us why. Because I think in 2020, in my opinion, made online dating very popular pretty quickly. And now
Yeah,
it's very normal, right? For people to be
right.
right, swiping left. And what you just shared about your title, there's a lot of significance in that because it's easy to fall into the mindset of just swiping. So why is Beyond the Swipe even important for us to adopt as a mindset and the reality of that truth?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think one of the things that's really important that I have a lot of like just personal conviction around, especially when it comes to any kind of relationships, but especially dating, romantic relationships, is that technology has kind of created this interesting thing in us where we want to be reactive instead of proactive. But the reason why I love this topic so much is because the way that we fight against technology or swiping and digitalness is to really be proactive. And before we even engage in those types of things, to think about, gosh, what are my core values? What are my non-negotiables? What's my personality? What are my life, my long-term goals? To think through that, it helps us in these types of settings to be proactive and to not feel like we're just constantly in a position to react, recalibrate. Wait, I'm not sure. I think it just saves us. It can save pain. It can save time wasted, honestly, for everybody involved. It can save a lot of things. And honestly, it solidifies when we do that, it solidifies, gosh, what do I really value and what really is important to me, as opposed to having to guess at that before we actually spend time to put thought into it.
No, that's so important. And it's really going into the process intentionally and remembering that, like, on the other side of that phone is a real human who
Oh
is
gosh.
too, And so I mean, I'm in the online, navigating the online dating world myself, and I hear so many people talk about just swiping for those ego boosts, right? And
Yes. Oh yes.
so not fair for the other person
Yes.
be showing up for a genuine connection as well. Um, I really like your subtitle for the book, and it actually makes me think of how you even introduced yourself, that you just want to help people be their best version, be healthy and grow, right? And so under your title, Swipe Beyond the Swipe, you have honoring God, respecting yourself, and finding the right match.
Mm.
Me through a little bit, if somebody is in this warrior conversation and they're like, okay, I just heard Emily, spill the tea, the sweet tea for us in the South right now. She's on online dating. I'm doing online dating too. And like, how do I honor God? How do I respect myself? How do I find the right match on these apps?
I think for me, one of the ways that I can honor God in these types of situations, specifically since we're talking about the online dating situation, is you said it. It's remembering that's still a human on the other side. And so when we treat that human on the other side of our screen with the same kind of respect that we want, and remember they actually have feelings, that it's not this emotionless photo that we're staring at. It's actually a human who's responding on the other side. But the way that we can honor God is to be honoring to how we even communicate to the person on the other side. And communication, that doesn't mean we say yes and none of that stuff, but it means that we're clear. It means that we're kind. It means that we're direct. All of that is a way we can honor the other person. And ultimately that's honoring to God, to say, hey, this is someone who's created an image of God. They're not my match. And again, sometimes they respond in very terrible ways to us, of course. So you know what? Move on, to close it out and move on. It's like, okay, just of course there's always weird things that happen. And the other way that I think that we can respect ourselves, or how I can respect myself, is honestly knowing what my non-negotiables are and not settling and not compromising. It is so hard when we are sitting face to face to some of this stuff, and let's say we see this very attractive person and they clearly write, I am an atheist and I hate all things outdoors. And it's like, okay, well, a priority for me is to love Jesus and outdoors. And so the way I can respect myself is to move on, as opposed to, well, you're very attractive, maybe.
I No, you're absolutely so agree. Like, you've got to know who you are and who you want to be in life before you try to connect yourself and team up with someone else for the long haul. Um,
Right.
if somebody was watching this warrior conversation, Kristen, and they're like, okay, which, after these questions too, I definitely want you to share how people can go buy the book, because I feel like you're gonna have an amazing outline for those of us on this dating journey today. But if you were to equip somebody with one step, somebody who is trying to live beyond the swipe. They've listened to everything you've unpacked. They're
Mm.
embracing mindset, this posture. They're recognizing it's a human on the other end of the screen. They're identifying their values, their non-negotiables. How can somebody take a next step in living this out, staying encouraged and not settling?
I think, I don't know if this is going to answer your question, but this is always what pops into my mind and something I tell myself. So I'm speaking to myself as much to everyone else is who you are is enough. You are whole and you are complete by yourself. Before you ever get on a dating app, you are 100% perfect. So if I don't really own that, then what happens is that I look towards relationships to try to fill a void or to fill an insecurity or to, I will be better when I'm in this picture perfect relationship. I will be this better human. I will be this more desirable or valuable human. And none of that is true. If we are not 100% convinced that God has looked at us and said, you are perfect. I know the hairs on your head and you are exactly who I've created you to be. And you have a plan and a purpose just as you are. If we don't own that, then I think relationships can get skewed because we start looking to those relationships to fill a void that we think we have when we don't. So to me, that is the most important thing I could ever say to anybody and to myself.
Yeah. Drop the mic. I 100% agree. Like that was so well said and such a timely, powerful reminder. Kristin, if somebody was listening, how can they go buy your book? Because y'all, if any of you are navigating online dating today, please, 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 when this ends, go buy Kristin's book. The truths that you equip us with are so profound and so helpful. So how can people get your book and connect with you online?
That's really sweet. Amazon, Barnes and Noble are the easiest ways to find the book. But honestly, if you just want to engage in my nonsense of a life, you could find me on Instagram. It's a lot of me kind of screwing around, but
Love it. No, that makes it so much fun too. So, is there anything else that you would want to share in this warrior conversation today on living beyond the swipe?
gosh, I think the last thing that I would say is that because I had a friend actually just say this to me pretty recently. She looked at me. I mean, this was probably 2 weeks ago recently, and she said, and I said, "Girl, why are you, dating this guy?
Yeah.
It's not a good situation." And she said, "Kristin, I'm getting older. I mean, it's true. I'm getting older, and I don't have a lot of options. So beggars can't be choosers." So what I said to her, and I just keep thinking, it breaks my heart.
Mm.
And so what I say is, I'm sorry, but your age does not put time constraints on God's best for you. The end. I don't know how else to say that. And I get that being with someone in a terrible relationship feels less lonely than being alone, but it's not. It is not it at all. So that would be my parting words is that settling is never the better option. The end.
Oh, that is a powerful way to end this conversation. Like, so good. Thank you for speaking this truth, this wisdom to us. Y'all, if you're not following Kristin, literally go hit the follow button. Follow her right now. Go buy her book. Thank you for investing
Sweet.
in this warrior conversation. I appreciate you. You're
Oh
amazing.
my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining us. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Talk to you later.